Welcome back to Advice from a CEO. I'm Bill. I've been a president, COO, CEO, and I guess most importantly, an owner of a business for the last 15 years. The last business I was involved in had 421 teammates. We did 9 figures annually in sales. I give you those last 2 data points so you can understand where my advice is coming from. I've seen a lot of content online in which the person clearly has never owned a business, or I've been able to watch a video and been like, well, based off of that advice, you have 3 people on your team or 12 people on your team. You certainly do not have 100 people on your team. Today, the economy is going to get crappy as we sit here July of 2023. And clearly, jobs and the unemployment rate is going to go up and the number of job opportunities is going to go down. And so we can argue, we can let the economists argue, we can let the Federal Reserve argue of what that exactly means. I'm more interested in getting you hired today. So let's talk about resumes. So I'm in the middle of hiring a CFO. I've been doing CFO interviews for the last 3 weeks. In fact, I made a job offer to somebody on this past Friday. And I share that because I want you to understand I'm actively doing this right now. So let's start with resumes. Typically, when you apply for a resume, depending on the size of the organization, that might go right directly to the hiring manager, like me, or it might go to HR department. It depends on that person's, of what they like. Some people like having the HR department sort out the resumes, and others, like myself, like to go through the resumes myself. So let's talk about your resume for a second. With your resume, do not do it yourself. Please, go spend some money. And what I mean by that is, again, I'm not sponsored, no affiliates, nothing like that. Go to Upwork, spend $100, have somebody write your resume for you. So, you're going to see videos out there about like no street address, make sure you have an objective statement, education not important, experience is the most important, all this crap, right? Spend $99. So let's say that $99, let's say you're applying to get a job for $100,000. Really? Come on, really? You won't spend $99 to go get a professional resume created for yourself? All right. So let's say you take my advice here. And again, this is just my experience. If it works for you, great. I can tell you as a hiring manager, you can see who are the people that spend a little time, effort, and money on creating that resume versus somebody who did it themselves. It's like watching, it's like reading a paper from somebody in grade school versus reading a paper from somebody in college. The person that put the effort, time, and some money into, you stand out so far above. All right, so you listen to my advice, and you go spend some money and have one of the contractors at Upwork create a resume for you. Awesome. Next up, interviews. Let's talk about the interviews for a second. So the way that I love to do interviews, and now obviously the world is shifting post-pandemic where people are back in the office, so these these interviews might be happening in person. I personally love to do my first interview via Teams or Zoom. Why? One, because I'm going to sort through a lot of people. So typically, if you're in person, the person lingers. They linger. And maybe they're not a good fit. And maybe you're not aggressive enough to say, you're not a good fit. Or this isn't going well. Please leave. No, I don't do that on all my interviews, but I do cut them short. And I will tell you, it is so much easier to cut them short on Teams or Zoom than it is in person. So that's why personally I love doing Zoom and Teams as my first interview. Second, if you're applying for a job, if you're a candidate, please make sure what's behind you is clean. I just interviewed this individual, and the background behind them was a disaster. It was a war zone. And then there was another individual that I was interviewing, and they had a whole beach theme going behind them. You might even want to try a background like the one I got going on. There's nothing to look at other than me. Second, dress like you're in person. So I was interviewing this person again for a CFO, and this person was professionally dressed from the waist up. Even though the shirt was a little wrinkled, I could get over that. And my interviews are 2 hours. And the reason why I do that is because I like to get the person in rhythm. What happens is everybody's so nervous in the beginning in an interview. It's very understandable. And so what I truly want, the reason why I do a longer first interview, and now you can understand why I want to cut it short if it's not going well, is I want the person to settle in so I can really see who they are. And typically it takes a bit for them to settle in. Well, anyways, this individual went to go cross their legs. And when they did that, their legs came into view of their camera on their computer, and I saw that I could see their legs, meaning that they were wearing shorts. So I was trying to provide this example without giving away the gender, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So this was a gentleman that was wearing a dress shirt, a sports jacket, and then when he went to go cross his legs, he's wearing shorts. And I was trying not to let it affect my interview, right? It must have been a habit for him to cross his legs, because during our time together, he did it 3 times. And 3 times he would actually cross his legs, realize that his knee was in view of the camera, because he could see himself, obviously. He put his hands over his knee to cover his knee, then decide that wasn't a good idea and put his leg down. And he did that 3 times. Needless to say, he didn't move on in the interview. The whole interview didn't go well, but I think that was just icing on the cake. Why am I sharing this with you? Take the extra 2 minutes to go put on a pair of pants if you're a guy. And if you're a gal, obviously dress appropriately to how women dress. But don't do this, I don't know, the old mullet, business in front, party in the back sort of deal, business up top, ready to have fun below the camera view. I'm the king of bad analogies, but I hope that makes sense. The third thing, if you want to get hired, spend some time on the company. I mean, my goodness, the interview gets scheduled. Are you interested in what we do? Have you done any legwork other than look at our website? I mean, if you think looking at the website has gotten you ready for this interview, that amount of effort, in my opinion, speaks for itself. I'm looking for somebody that has gone and looked at the LinkedIn profiles. They've gone to see who their other teammates are. It's not that hard to go figure out who clients are. After you've figured out clients, you understand kind of the niche. And then your questions get better. And then, of course, you stand out again in the interview. I hope that helps. Quick video, just some basics. Until next time, be well. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.